Hey guys, welcome to sprint number 85 review. So we used the AI development workflow quite heavily last week. So let's have a look at what was finished. So the sprint goal was to get a canary test passed by Callum. Unfortunately, that's not done. There were a few PRs that he wanted merged in order to get a test pass, but not all of them were merged. There was one missing. Go through that a bit later. So timesheets. So Baba and Stephen were on it full time. So I was on brainstorming, and we have two new members, Willow and Tino, joined the team.
So only two people worked on YakShaver last week?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
So on to the duns. So the first one that I want to talk about is the support for local MCP servers. So Stephen, do you want to go through this PBI or PR rather?
Yeah, sure. So initially this PR was Callan created by coding, but since there was a refactoring underneath the code, so we swap out a library. So Callan's PR won't be able to check in because there'll be a lot of conflicts and will break code. So I took over that PR and rewrite it. So now our YakShaver desktop app is supporting local MCP servers. This is an example. I used a local MCP server to retrieve the weather information and create it into a PBI using GitHub MCP server.
Any questions on that? Yeah, we'll move on.
So actually, sorry, yeah.
Yep.
Just because I feel like this is foundational to understanding everything from the sprint. So basically, you've got YakShaver now. Am I getting it right that you actually did a shave, and the shave used some locally hosted MCP servers to be able to, in this case, get temperature information?
Yeah,
correct.
As a proof of concept.
So there's a local weather MCP server running on my laptop, and there's a remote GitHub MCP server running on GitHub server. So they are now collaborate and create a PBI in GitHub server.
We currently have a local MCP server for SSW bookings. Does this mean, for example, you could YakShave a client booking?
I don't see why not.
I think it's possible, yeah.
That's something that you might be interested in.
Yes, I might well be interested in that. Okay. Now just give me Hey Siri and I've got everything I need.
Yeah. So it's very powerful. So local MCP server and remote MCP server are now collaborating and creating to achieve users' target.
Can you help me with the wording? So local in my mind means on my machine. I'm assuming that's not what you mean. What do you mean by local?
It's on your machine.
It's on your machine, yes.
It's part of the desktop app that I would install on my machine. I would install the MCP thing as well. Is that right?
It could
the same way you installed the MCP for SSW booking, you could probably reuse exactly the same MCP server for YakShaver as well.
Okay, so that's the one that I'm hooking into with my cursor code or whatever. Claude code is actually running on my machine. So okay, cool, good to know.
Yeah. Cool. The next one is the add and undo and redo function for YakShaver. So this was done by Baba. This was another AI assisted one. So you can see this was instructions that Callum passed through. And what it does is when the shave is completed, it gives you two options. The first one is to reprocess the shave. So you can give it new instructions to redo the shave with. So additional context, or if it was missing something, you can reprocess it with that instruction. And the other one is undo, which will send it back to the MCP and go, please undo all these steps that you did. So in this example, we created the PBI, and in the undo workflow, we close the PBI. So that just allows sort of the same closing function that we have with the Teams app of YakShaver, except it's using MCPs to do it. So we don't need to hard code those functions in. We just get it to do it itself.
Awesome. Are those the same screenshots I put on there, or are they new ones?
Yeah, I think this is the same screenshot you did. I think Baba
Does that
just
mean
took
there isn't
that.
much change from
No.
the vibe coded PR?
There's not much. I think most of it was just from the change of from what Steven did with the orchestrator into using
merging
the
that stuff
SDK. Yeah, I think it's just merging that stuff
I'm
together.
very interested to know, generally speaking, what the quality of those vibe coded PRs is and how much work needs to be done to merge them in. So I mean, obviously we had the bit of a wrinkle with the incompatible changes that had to be merged, but yeah, generally speaking, if that's the way we should continue to go or not, I'm interested. I assume we'll talk about it at the retro.
Yeah, we can talk about it in the retro. We can go next.
What model's doing the writing the code?
I think
5.1 codex.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
I put in the notes. That's a thing I think I added to the PR template is to indicate your prompt and which model you use to generate the code.
Nice. I'm always curious with that because does it come from like 4.1 or Claude Orchestrator or Cursor Orchestrator?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with 5.1 codex. I think it's good.
Nice. Well, they pushed that out after Gemini came out, right, to stay ahead.
Yeah.
Nice.
The next one is another one that was from Callum's AI coded one. It was the internal tool for video processing. So before we didn't have anything. So also on the Teams app, we had the screenshotting feature, and we also had something that took in the picture and gave it a description of what the figure was. And that didn't exist in the desktop app. But now that has been added. So I've added a Yak Video Tools MCP, and this is a bit different. So this is a built-in MCP server. So this comes with the app itself. It's not locally hosted or it's not a remote server. This bundles in with the app. And this basically allows us to kind of add features that we already have the endpoint, we have the APIs for, but we also want it to be something that it can use at any point in time and doesn't require someone to install separately.
Okay, so it's like a locally hosted MCP server, but bundled in with the desktop app.
Yeah, exactly correct. Yeah,
cool.
That's right.
And we use that at the moment. Is it still the same two tools?
Correct,
So
same two tools.
Snapping a screenshot at the specified time and analyzing the screenshot with a multimodal LM.
Yeah, correct.
Awesome.
Is that that's happening on the local machine, right? You're not shipping that out to Azure or anything for the processing?
No.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, hang on. You haven't got a locally run model. You are using inference elsewhere.
Are you talking about the screenshotting bit, or are you talking about?
Oh, I see. Sorry, there's no actual AI involved in that. That's just a process.
Yeah. The screenshotting bit is all local.
There is AI in the second tool, which is analyzing the image, and that just goes to the same place that we send all the prompts to, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah, which is in the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If you've got it set to cloud in the future, you'll have an option for a locally running LN.
Mm-hmm. And the last one I just want to mention is the YouTube metadata. So this was one that Baba did. And as you can see, again, it's another one of these, one of the Copilot, the Codex ones. So there's a bunch of instructions here. And what it does is before, when we uploaded the video to YouTube, it had a generic title of just upload a video with no description. What this does is it gives us the ability to, as you can see, edit the title here and also change the description and add chapters, which will make it much easier for someone to kind of skim through if there's a bunch of different issues.
Or even if there's only one issue, it should still, like if you talk about different topics related to that issue, it still should make chapters.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's just a YouTube thing, right?
Cool. That's all the PBIs I wanted to talk about. Any of the other ones catch your eye that you want to brief?
I guess
overview
just holistically, you said that there was you mentioned a couple of times that AI did the heavy lifting on some of these. Were there any that AI literally was able to do end to end, and you just had to approve it, or did you have to make changes to any?
I think Stephen can talk a bit more because I think he had to go through some of the hurdles. So Stephen, what were your thoughts? Like, were they all good enough, or was there a few that needed some major changes?
Actually, because the major refactors at the same time, when Callum did the vibe coding PRs, we couldn't really get the data because it's a special case. We had to manually changing the PR to adapt the current refactored code. So it's unfair to say if it's good or not. At this moment, I think we should have more experiments.
Okay.
From what I've done though, for really small, sort of like almost just like a few lines of code changes, those are really good. Like I feel like they do a very good job at it. For bigger ones, I feel like it gets confused as to how to do it. I think sometimes it doesn't have enough context about how the overall like file structure is done. Because sometimes it would just do something completely different to what I expected. Yeah.
Can I just ask, what's that first one there that says won't do on the status?
This was related to the spike enhance YakShaver. So this was the last one that you want to check. But because this had so many differences with the current implementation, we decided to close it off and then start again in the next sprint. Because we added.
Okay, so the thing that won't do is the pull request, but we'll still do the feature, right?
Correct. Yes. Correct.
Okay, cool. Just check.
How come we're seeing pull requests in this list? We normally just see PBIs.
So that was explained last week as well. So Callum used Codex to get AI to create a bunch of PRs to immediately have the code ready, but there were no PBIs for it. So we just dragged those in.
Okay.
As the PBIs. Cool. Anything else before we move on?
No, that's good. Thank you.
That's no worries. All right, Stephen, take it away.
Yeah, so for the code coverage from last sprint, we had no change. Still keeps 28. And we had one production release for the Teams app, and we had 7 release for the new desktop app. And for the application health, we had 2 peaks on the failure of request. That was because we had 2 times run out of the OpenAI service credit. So now we have fixed it to enable recharge the OpenAI service. And the availability remains 100% all the time, which is good. And for the leaderboard, we had a new leaderboard looking thanks to Michaela and Tom. They spent some time on redesign this entire leaderboard. So for the first place, we had Hart, and then Chloe and Yuli.
Has anyone tested any of those PBIs that Hark or Chloe made? Has anyone seen any of them?
I have not seen. I've seen one that Hawk made. It looked all right.
It's fine. Okay, I'm nervous because both of those people I wouldn't count as like top-notch clear communicators. So I just want to make sure that the PBIs they're creating are clear and usable.
I've seen Chloe's before. They're very good.
They're good. Okay.
Yeah, and she always does them with a second person. I don't know about Hark. The ones that Hark did, I know he's new and keen. But did he have a second person involved in these YakShaves?
The one that I saw did not.
Okay, you should correct it. You should point him to the rule. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, cool.
Stephen, can you write that down for me? To catch up with Hawk.
Just while this is already derailed, I'm kind of curious around that test coverage. I find it unusual that you guys have merged like half a dozen PRs and the test coverage has remained identical. Are we sure that that test coverage is the same? Are we sure that the
So-
value is accurate?
Is that
So
'cause
this
it's not
one is
covering
with the
desktop
Teams
app?
app.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not the desktop. Right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Never mind. Thank you.
Should we update that so there's a different number for the desktop app or a combined number or something?
Combined number would be good.
Well,
I'm not
is
sure.
there active development happening on the web one? Because I've seen nothing but desktop PBIs
No,
for the
not really,
last
just
couple of
desktop.
sprints.
No, just
Desktop
desktop,
and portal.
and then bug fixes on the website.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, I would just show separate ones then, right?
Mm-hmm. The
I
student
assume
key
it's
right
not hard to get the desktop app as a separate table, right?
No.
Maybe we can do that next time.
Yeah, I'm writing them down.
Cool, thank you. I'll pick it up from here. So the YakShaver Agent 2.0 Epic, it went up by 4%. I think there's a bit more. I'll have a look after this and I'll update this because I think there's definitely more that was done for this.
That's probably a bit unfair because when I just do pull requests, they're not counted as issues done, but they probably should be.
Oh, that's true.
Can you put pull requests into epics?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. Backlog stats. So as of today, there were 60 new PBIs. 67 of them have the YakShaver label. 41 of them were completed. Net change of 19. And Willow.
Is that just on the YakShaver backlog, by the way?
Yes, that's just the YakShaver backlog.
Nice. It's a lot of PBIs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will do the R&D part. So Steven investigated how MCP orchestrators can interact with our user responses. And as a team, we investigated the quality of AI-generated code from Copilot or Codex. And then for the AI tools, I and Tino just joined the team. So I used Copilot with Claude Sonnet 4.5 and YakShaver. Tino used Trey with GPT-5, DeepSeek, and Kimi K2 and YakShaver. Yeah.
Any questions on those?
Is anyone using 5.1 Codex?
No.
I'd suggest give it a go if you haven't already, because I think it's the best one at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, have a look at that.
Is Gemini good at everything but code?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Gemini is bad. I've just had, I think, more reliable results with Codex recently.
Okay, cool. Because I know it kind of smashed all the benchmarks except for some coding ones. So I'm actually this is a legitimate question.
Mm.
Cool. Let me move on to the tenant stats. So we had 36 total tenants. Still 3 have finished all the setup. We have 23 non-SSW shaves, which is really good, and 93 SSW shaves. And I hand over Tino for the Copilot stats.
All right. Is anyone in contact with any of the companies, like the non-SSW companies who are doing all these shaves? Because I'd love to get some feedback from them.
Yeah, I can give it to you afterwards.
Cool.
Sorry, can I just be clear? Did somebody communicate with each of the tenants that are using this week?
It's one tenant.
I thought it says 3.
There are 3 tenants that finished the setup. So they're fully able to use YakShaver, but there's one tenant using it.
Right.
For the past week.
You need to talk to the other tenants to find out what the blocker is. Or just a little message touching base. Just are you planning on using it this week? We cannot go a week without communicating with each one of the tenants.
We make a PBI for that because I feel like we say that in the sprint reviews a lot, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like it's been
I think-
mentioned.
Louis has sent off an email, but yeah, okay, we can.
I think it would be good to start getting a relationship with the people, like so that they feel like we're invested in their success.
Stephen, can you write down to make the PBI? We can do that
Yeah.
afterwards.
It means somebody's going to have to like step up to be the kind of face, by the way, to have these relationships. So somebody who's confident, good at talking.
I'm happy to do so if needed.
There we go. Jay's confident, good at talking. Thank you.
My
That's
man.
good. But I think we need somebody who is technical, or you can quickly add in somebody as soon as there is a problem.
Okay. Cool. We'll move on to the Copilot stats. Tino, take it away.
All right, cool. All right, so for the Copilot stats, we spoke in the planning. As that Lewis is our Scrum Master, he did the most talking, so good job on that. And the runner-up, we have Stephen Chung as the second most talking person. All right, so moving down a little. And all right, so for what was the main issue completed, Copilot says that the main issue completed was implementing user confirmation for MCP tool usage, which was the top priority and the sprint goal. Is involved in enabling confirmation prompts for users when MCP tools are called, addressing the integration and refactor challenges that preventing merging previous pull requests and preventing for full canary testing. This is accurate, so we keep going down.
Sprint retro. So for the sprint retro, one went well. Steven said, "Welcome, Tino and Willow." And Willow and Tino are happy to join the team and finally doing some AI work. And Steven says that YakShaver desktop is supporting local MCP servers. So what didn't go well? Callum says he was fouled on client work, so he had no time to do any YakShaver stuff. And I mentioned that our OpenAI account ran out of credits, and I had no recharge, which caused a failure for people using YakShaver.
Did we check if we got some sort of warning email or anything like that? Did we get one and ignore it, or did they like just not send us anything? Or
that is something I need to get the sysadmins to have a look, because I don't have access to the account.
Right.
But yeah.
So maybe someone got a notification, but it was just ignored. But I guess for next time we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So probably at the very least we want to set some sort of reminder in the calendar for whenever the new credit card expires to make sure it gets swapped to a new one before it actually does expire.
Yeah. And what needs to improve? So we need to improve the error message when the credit fails, because right now it will always say that the video is too long, even though that's not true. And we also need to test the SharePoint feature before we contact customers, because we have that. We release it to production. We need to test to make sure that we can get the whole process and get a doc ready, so we can contact people to change their SharePoint from ours to theirs.
Awesome.
Okay. Can I ask two questions? The first one is, when we had the credit issue happen, and then like, did we jump on fixing that and then fixing the error message, so the next time it happened it was slightly better?
No, I just focus on fixing the issue.
Okay, and then what did you do after you'd fixed the issue?
After the first time I fixed the issue,
did you move on to then improving the experience, or you moved on to a completely different matter?
No, I did not. I was on brainstorming prep, so I just prioritized just getting it fixed ASAP, and then.
Right. Okay. What I would have done is then give it to somebody not on brainstorming.
Yep.
So they were now improving the error. Okay. You could have called Willow and said, "All right, so we just had this problem. I fixed this. We need to improve it." So when it happened again, it was slightly better.
Yep,
Yep.
makes sense.
And I think the other one that didn't go as well as it could have is when I did the brainstorming keynote, I was going to include stuff from Callum. He sent me the stuff, but I didn't run through it. So there was missing info there on what he wanted me to do and what I could have done. And it would have been much better in front of the company to have done a run through.
Right.
So, yeah, add that, please. Yeah.
So what's that suggestion that like you should get this earlier, or is it just like add a reminder for you to check this stuff?
Well, the brainstorming usually happens earlier and people are told their teams earlier. This time we didn't use Brady, so we had some different people and it happened late. And then Callum and I had a quick chat about what I would do with brainstorming keynote with respect to YakShaver. He told me exactly what I asked, but then there was missing bits in there that I realized that I was meant to do afterwards.
I was under the impression I was to give a live demo.
Yeah.
But you were under the impression that you were just showing.
Well, I thought your answer said play these 2 videos, so I thought that was the whole thing.
Yeah, and I thought then you were going to say, all right, now here's Callum to give a.
I didn't know there was more.
Anyway,
yeah.
So there was a miscommunication.
Yeah, so that's why we should talk.
Yep.
Messages don't do the job.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything to add to the retro?
I think it's super exciting to start seeing AI doing simple jobs for us. So I know, Stephen, you said that there were some conflating factors that made it not super clear whether it was a success or not this week. So I guess I'll ask the same question next week because I really want to know, can it handle the simple stuff? And if not, can we give it some simple directions in a markdown file somewhere to be able to handle that on a recurring basis?
Yeah, we'll find it out.
Cool. Now for next sprint 86, the sprint goal will be for the user confirmation for MCP tools and also video hosting, setting up the tenant SharePoint for a customer. That'll be the main focus for next sprint. And there's a few others as well that I want to point out. So the user confirmation consists of a lot of smaller ones. So like whitelisting different tools, that might be something that people want to do where they want certain tools to always go through, but some tools will need to ask whether they're allowed to, make sure the user actually knows what's going on. And
can I ask, actually, sorry, I don't think I remember seeing the desktop tool in action. It doesn't use Teams anymore, does it? So it communicates with you directly in the desktop app, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so is it currently kind of doing all the communication that Teams does? Does it give you a card saying you've made a PBI in this place, you can move it or delete it, or like are we at feature parity there, or is it like not yet?
Not quite.
It gives you if you've created an issue, it gives you a link to the issue. It gives you, with the latest changes we've merged in, it gives you the option to reprocess with additional instructions. So if you put it in the wrong backlog, for example, you could say, hey, move it to this backlog. It also has an undo button. So if you did something and you want to undo it, you can do that.
Okay.
So I feel it's got most of the important stuff, but yeah, it's not quite the same. So if there's no disambiguation, I guess is one thing that we don't have yet because we don't have any integration with the portal. I don't know, there may be some other small things I'm forgetting about, but anyway, I feel like I can sort of get around the disambiguation with the reprocess with additional prompt anyway.
Yeah, nice. And so the reason I asked that is because I'm assuming all these like whitelisted MCPs, if it's not whitelisted, that means that when it tries to call that MCP, it'll ask you, is it okay if I call this MCP? Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
And it'll do that in the user interface in the desktop app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
so there are different modes you can pick. So you can put it on YOLO and it always runs, or you can put it on always warn, and you can whitelist specific tools and things like that.
Okay, awesome. And last question, I promise. Does it how fast is it to run compared to the current one?
I say a lot quicker.
To me, it feels way faster. I feel like that's a combination of actually being faster because it's being orchestrated locally, so it doesn't have to queue up, but also because you get instant feedback every step of the way. You can sort of see, all right, now it's doing the transcription, now it's doing step
That's
one,
awesome.
now it's doing step two, you know, so
That's
it feels
that's
faster
super
because
cool.
you get instant feedback. Yeah.
And it has the watermark at the beginning and end.
No watermarks at the moment.
Is it in a position where you can give it to Yuli, seeing as he has all these burning questions like how does it work and how fast is it?
Yeah, absolutely. We were getting it, or at least I was trying to get it as close to feature parity as possible with my canary testing, plus whatever other low-hanging fruit we can get as bonuses. And I think once I give it the test pass, it should be at that point. Because I didn't want to give it to Yuli when it was still sort of half-baked, because then he would just complain about all the obvious problems. And
Yeah, I
we
appreciate
already know.
that. Thank you.
I will say
Yeah.
one of the big PBIs that we probably want to get done before we give it to Yuli is this one. So right now with the MCP servers, stuff like GitHub, you need to create your own token and include that in the header and stuff, which Yuli is probably you're probably not. You don't know exactly how to do that.
No,
So-
I'm also very impatient for any kind of UX.
Exactly, anything
Yeah.
that requires you to get out of your way to do it. So
Yeah.
with OAuth integration, like you should be able to just enter the link and it pops up with something that says connect your GitHub. You click connect and boom, you're done.
Nice.
Like that's ideally what we want to get to before we give it away to get people to start using it. Or else then people are going to come over and say, oh, how do I do this or this? And I'm like, okay, you got to edit the header and you got to put this token.
It's
And
also
they're
a
like,
lot
"What
more
is it?"
secure because you don't have to put a pat in the app. So users who are a little bit privacy concerned would appreciate that.
Nice. Just assume that I'm dumb and impatient.
I thought that
Already done.
Lewis had diplomacy 100 on the way he handled that,
Yeah,
where he was
that was
like,
great.
I
That was
don't
great.
know if Yuli'd be able to figure it out.
No, that's it. But like, you don't want me to have to figure it out, right? Like, you want to give it
Exactly.
to someone and they don't have to ask questions. It's obvious what they need to do.
Because if it's annoying, they're just going to stop using it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Let's go to what the Copilot thinks
Diplomacy
is
100.
important. So what Copilot says is the main issue to do is setting up video hosting with SharePoint for the customer, alongside continuing work on user confirmation for MCP tool usage to enable full canary testing. Yeah, so exactly what the sprint goal says. So I think this one was a pretty good answer from Copilot. Good job. Any questions? No?
It's awesome. Thank you.
So this video will be on the YouTube. Thank you guys for joining me in this meeting. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks, Lewis. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.